My name is Veronica Hardy, and I'm a professor. And it's kind of how do you transition this tip of really tips that I want to share with you just from my own coming to our lives and things that you start making a plan, create a budget on how to people skills, relationship skills, research, and sometimes the job that you pursue, your diversity training. There is so much. My name is Dr. Veronica Hardy, and today I want to talk to you about transitioning from graduation to the workforce. Now, when I graduated, I remember I didn't have a whole lot to put on my resume. I had my classes and I had my field placement. But I thought, how does that transition to the work environment? I also wondered, what kind of questions is the interviewer going to ask me? What should I say in response? So today, my intention is to speak to you about transitioning from graduation to the workforce. Now, I know there's something significantly different during this time period as you're entering the workforce as compared to mine. You're dealing with a pandemic that has changed the career landscape. Many organizations have transitioned to teleworking and using other digital means in order to provide their services. And I know that's something that you also need to think about. So as we talk about transitioning from graduation to the workforce, we also want to talk about how to enter this new career landscape. So what I want to share for you are just a few tips that worked for me as I was engaging in my job search. The first tip is to recognize the value in your assignments. As I mentioned before, all I had were my assignments and my field placements. Didn't have a whole lot to put on the resume. But how does that transfer to the work environment? How would I talk about that during the interview process? Now, here are a few tips. Review your assignments. Determine the value, the skills, the knowledge that you obtained when completing that assignment. For example, did you have any assignments where you had to use digital tools? That's very relevant for this new career landscape and teleworking. Did you develop websites? Did you use new apps? Can that skill be relevant for the job that you are applying for? Another tip, did you conduct some form of research? Did you conduct a needs assessment? Did you develop surveys and distribute them to gain feedback from people who may be receiving services? All of those skills are beneficial to a social service organization. So think about how conducting a needs assessment, developing a survey could be very helpful to an organization who wants to better meet the needs of the people they serve and to fill gaps that may be in the community. So those are just a couple ways that you can evaluate your assignments and determine what knowledge, skills, and abilities did I develop as a result of completing these. Tip number 2, create a digital presence. Now, many of us are already online and very familiar with using social media. But the question is, how are you using your social media? Do you create a digital professional presence for yourself? Now, what do I mean by professional presence? Are you using social media to highlight your accomplishment, to identify the various trainings that you have attended, to showcase certifications that you have completed? Are you using it as a central location to help store and highlight all of these accomplishments that you have made? Keep in mind that many organizations are now turning to the internet and navigating social media to learn more about who is applying to their workplace. They want to know, what is the image of this individual? How do they carry themselves? How are they representing themselves? Why would this be important to an employer? Because you would be a representative of their agency. So they want you to be a good representation of who they are, of their mission, and of their values. How are you using your social media? Create a professional digital presence. Now, tip number 3. I mentioned earlier that I would think, well, what types of questions is the interviewer going to ask me? And how should I respond? I want to tell you that preparation enhances confidence. So, with this tip, plan for your interview. You're going to have to take time to study yourself, study the job description, and then consider these 3 umbrella questions that I believe most employers tend to ask. Here they are. Who are you? What can you offer? And what are you seeking? Those are the 3 umbrella questions that generally interviewers tend to focus on. So let's start with who are you? What does that mean? What are your accomplishments? What is your professional identity? What are your strengths? And also, what areas would you like to grow in? So take a moment, pull out a piece of paper, and start writing down some of the responses that you would share with an interviewer about who you are. The second umbrella question, what can you offer? Now, many organizations want to know, what are you bringing? What makes you unique? What particular skills do you have that would lead me to hire you? Think about it. Remember I said about recognizing the value in your assignments? And we are in a new career landscape, so possibly digital skills could be very relevant. So think about how the value of those assignments can be communicated to the employer. Be sure to study the job description. When an organization develops a job description, it's for a purpose. They are seeking someone to fill the gaps that are noted in that job description. Determine how you may be in alignment with certain of the qualifications, the required qualifications noted on that job description. Be ready to talk about it, because often employers want to know that you studied their organization and that you study the description. And that umbrella question number 3, what are you seeking? What led you to apply here? What caught your attention? Oftentimes, employers also want to know if you studied their organization before applying. In other words, did you read about their mission? Did you read about their values? Did you read about the population to whom they provide services to? So they would want to know, did you study the organization to have a good understanding of what it is about? Now, yes, COVID-19 may have created a new career landscape, but also there are fresh and new opportunities out there. So take some time to plan. Recognize the value in your assignments, create a professional digital presence, and plan ahead for the interview. I hope these tips have been helpful. Please let us know. Your feedback is valuable. And I'll be back again soon with even more career search tips. Take care, everyone.